Okay, so today we're doing lesson on Surah 103, Surah Al-Asr. As usual, we'll do the Arabic, then do some of the explanation, correct a few words, we read a few sentences. So today we will start with the Munazza. Munazza, do you want to recite the all three ayahs and then read the translation up to here? So let's get started.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر by the time إن الإنسان لفي خسر no man is the state of lose إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق بالصبر save those who have faith and do righteous deeds and counsel each other to hold on to truth and counsel each other to be steadfast. In this surah, an oath has been sworn by the time to impress the point that man is in sheer loose and only those people are an exception from the loose who are characterized by four qualities: faith, righteous deeds, exhorting one another to truth, exhorting one another to patience.
Thank you. Okay, so Jessica, you want to read the words that were mispronounced? I underlined them, and if any word that needs to be added to that, you can do that, and then you can read the Arabic and the translation.
Sure. So the first word is loss. And as we discussed, vowels in English have a long sound and a short sound. So with that O in there, that's the short sound. And as we mentioned, it sounds like aleph, loss. Now, if there's two O's together, then it becomes a longer sound like oo, and like loose. And I guess also that word that Bilal wrote up there is lose. And as you see, there's an E after the S. And as we mentioned before, when there's an E, when there's a consonant and then an E, it makes the vowel sound long. That might be a little bit complicated, but maybe that helps. But typically, if the O is just, not with another O or there's no E, then it's just a short O, and it sounds like aleph. So loss.
So we got loss.
Mm.
You read it like that, and then we got two O's, lose, and then
Loose, yeah,
one O that's just loose.
right.
Okay, so now moving on.
Okay, so righteous. So I guess it's like the word right, but with it is added at the end, righteous. So if you know how to,
the T here will sound more like CH, right?
Right, that's true.
Okay. How do you actually? I'm going to write down another word here, and I'm going to just see how do you say that. Like, how do you say this word?
Opportunity.
So here we call T as is opportunity,
Right.
but in righteous we call the T as CH.
Yeah.
Okay. The next word was
Counsel.
Counsel. So N is almost silent. So it's like in Urdu we have two words. One is noon, and one is silent noon. I think we call it noon hunna. So this is gonna be this sound and not this sound. So counsel, and the next one is
Truth.
truth. Very good.
And then the next one is oath.
Oath. Yeah.
Oath. So that's like a promise.
Commitment.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is
loss again.
loss.
And I guess that's it.
Yep. That's it. Okay. And there was the word exhort. Uh,
Oh, okay, exhorting.
yeah, she said it correctly, but it's exhorting. So we don't say the H in there, right? We just say exhorting, right?
Yes, that's how I just say it, exhort.
Exhort. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So do you want to read the Arabic translation and then the explanation?
Sure, sure. So أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر. By the time. إن الإنسان لفي خسر. Lo, man is in a state of loss. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So save those who have faith and do righteous deeds and counsel each other to hold on to truth and counsel each other to be steadfast. In this surah, an oath has been sworn by the time to impress the point that man is in sheer loss, and only those people are an exception from the loss who are characterized by four qualities: faith, righteous deeds, exhorting one another exhorting one another to truth, exhorting one another to patience.
One thing I wanted to mention, if I am doing lists like this, I usually add a semicolon rather just a period. What do you do? Okay. Like if I would go like this, I'll put a semicolon, 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 and then not
Oh yeah, that works. That works. Yeah.
the last one would be fine. But that's how I usually do the list. But people, you are equally. I've also seen people using the periods. So again, that's just a personal preference. So I want to show you guys. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next part here. And let's go with the Abrar.
Let us consider each of these parts separately in order to fully understand the meanings. As for the oath, we have explained several times about that Allah has not sworn an oath by any of the creator objects and on account of its glory or its excellence and wonderful qualities, but for the reason that it testifies to the truth which is meant to be established. Therefore, the oath by time signifies that time is witness to the truth that man in sorry that man is in sheer loss except for the people who possess the four qualities.
Very good. Very good. Okay, there was only one word here. Was there anything else you noticed?
Yeah, I think that's about right. So I guess the word you underlined is sheer. So I guess this is like saying in, I don't know, extreme loss.
Total.
Total, yeah.
Like it's indicated intensity. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think it's a pretty good job. So I'll just give the next person an opportunity. Imran,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
The word time is सर आपने ऊपर कर
Sorry,
दिया
go ahead. Go ahead.
नजर नहीं आ हाँ, ठीक. The word time is used for the past as well as for the passing time in which the present. In fact, does not signify any long stretch of time. Every moment when it has passed becomes past, and every moment of the future when it is passing becomes present, and when it passed becomes past. Here, since the oath has been sworn by time, absolute. Both kind of time are included in its meaning. The oath by the past time means that human history testifies that the people who were without these qualities eventually incurred lose, and in order to understand the significance of the oath by the passing time, one should understand that the time which is now passing is in fact time which has been given to every single individual and every single nation to work in the world.
Okay, Imran, we just corrected this word in the very beginning. Can you try saying this word again that I have boxed?
Loss.
Loss. Okay. So loss. Okay. All right, Jessica. So we have a few words to correct here.
Mhm. All right, so the first one is signify. So that it's like mean. It's explaining what it is. Does not signify. Or signal. So signify. The next thing is when it has passed. Maybe that's just one of those things that got a little gobbled up.
Got a little jumbled, so we just have to enunciate the words when it has passed. Okay.
The next one is sworn. So that was, someone who made an oath. They swore, but it's in the past tense, sworn. The next one is incurred. Incurred. So it's kind of like they, what would you say? They earned it
to them.
It happened to them. They brought it upon themselves. And then that word loss we talked about earlier, to lose something. This next word was a difficult one. Significance. Significance.
And there is, I think, up on top with just the word signify, right?
Right.
So the word, these are related words.
Right.
So from the verb signify,
Right.
we derive the word significance.
Yeah. So it's something to be of importance. And I'll also remind you guys, just with your W's, sometimes when you say them, it sounds like V, but it's like with work in the world. Sometimes you might say work in the world, but it's work in the world. I know that's difficult, but just pointing that out.
I'll put a squiggly line. That's something to work on. All right. Do you want to read this, Jessica?
Sure. The word time is used for the past as well as for the passing time, in which the present, in fact, does not signify any long stretch of time. Every moment, when it has passed, becomes past, and every moment of the future, when it is passing, becomes present, and when it has passed, becomes past. Here, since the oath has been sworn by time, absolute, both kinds of time are included in its meaning. The oath by the past time means that human history testifies that the people who were without these qualities eventually incurred loss. And in order to understand the significance of the oath by the passing time, one should understand that the time which is now passing is, in fact, the time which has been given to every single individual and every single nation to work in the world. Man, that's a lot of complicated concepts right there.
There's a lot of philosophical concepts here, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is the concept of time, for example. So, like at any time, we know the time is present, past, and future. But depending on where you are, we will use a different word. So, anyways, let's move to the next concept here, starting with its, and that's going to be muzammal. Go ahead.
Its example is of the time which is allotted to a candidate of answering his question paper in the examination hall. The speed with which this time is passing can be estimated from the movement of the second hand in the watch. Even a second is considerable, for during this very second light travels eight, 18 18,000 186,000 miles, and of God there may as well be many things which move even faster than light, but are not yet known to man. However, if the speed of the passing time be regarded the same as of the movement of the second hand, and was considered that whatever act God, uh, good, good or bad, we perform, and whatever occupation we pursue takes place in the living, we feel that our real wealth is this very time which is passing so quickly.
Okay, so there are a few words that I have underlined. Jessica, were there more words? Sorry, I was a little distracted with this something.
Oh, that's okay. I think that's good. So the first one is considerable. He did correct himself, but yeah, that one's a little bit of a long word. Considerable. So that's, I guess, just, yeah, rather large amount of time. And then the number
I
is,
think, and then there was the uh, light travels at how many miles? So that was 18600. How would you read that?
I would say it as 186,000.
Yeah. So in the US language, we usually use only threes, threes, threes.
You have other vendors out
So 186,000 miles, and in the so on and so on. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to reread this, Jessica?
Sure. Its example is of the time which is allotted to a candidate for answering his question paper in the examination hall. The speed with which this time is passing can be estimated from the movement of the second hand in the watch. Every second is a considerable amount of time, for during this very second, light travels 186,000 miles, and in the kingdom of God there may as well be many things which move even faster than light, but are not yet known to man. However, if the speed of the passing time be regarded the same as of the movement of the second hand, and we consider that whatever act, good or bad, we perform, and whatever occupation we pursue takes place in the limited span of age that we have been given for work in the world, we feel that our real wealth is this very time, which is passing so quickly. Man, lots of complicated concepts today. Time and philosophy and the speed of light. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry, I've people kind of were coming in and out and asking me things, so that's why I was putting myself on mute.
Oh, sure, that's understandable.
Thank you. So there's, as you said, they're complicated but important concepts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And second, there's you know, this concept of how quickly the time passed, or how do we understand it. For example, whenever there's lightning, that's one time when I realized the concept of time, and concept, the idea of the vision and the sound, because there's just a little difference when you between the when you see the lightning and when you hear it. Usually, we're talking to people who are sitting right in front of us. We turn the light bulb on, we turn the switch on, and the light comes on. We don't even realize how quickly things are happening. But when the lightning strikes, that's one time when I realized that, oh wow, in a matter of a moment. So the next person is, let's go with Shazia.
I'll just leave it on the time. That bottom one. Just a couple.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Imam Razi has cited a scholar saying, I understood the meaning of Surah Al-Asr from an eye seller who was calling aloud for the attention for the people repeatedly in the bazaar. Have mercy on the one whose wealth is melting away. Hearing what he was crying, I said to myself, this then is the meaning of Wal Asri innal insana lafi khusrin. The age limit that man has been allotted is passing quickly like the melting away of ice. If it is wasted or spent in wrong pursuits, it will be sheer loss to man. Thus, swearing an off by the time what has been said in this surah means that the fast passing time is witness that devoid of these four qualities in whatever occupation and work man is spending his limited span of life. He is engaged in bad bargains. It would be just like calling attention of the candidate who was spending the time allotted for solving the question paper in some other pursuit to the wall clock in the examination hall to tell him that the passing time bore witness that he was causing loss to himself. The candidate benefiting by the time was he who was using every moment of the allotted time in solving the paper.
Thank you. There's, I think there's one concept of solving the paper, or in American English, we usually don't say solving the paper. We just say answering the question, or answering various questions. Okay, so there are a few words that I underlined. Were there any words that I missed, Jessica?
I think there was one sentence that was missed. I think she might have just jumped from one line to the other.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because I had a stopper there, but then I just moved the stopper because I was like, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't want to
but I think you got all the words.
Okay.
So let's start with wasted. So that's to kind of to waste something is how do I explain? It's kind of like to throw something away, or to not use, to consume or spend, to use improperly, to squander, to neglect.
Yeah, like I think you can waste time, you can waste money, any of the resources that you have, you can you are not using them to the best of your abilities.
Right.
Next one
is oath. So that's, we talked about that earlier. It's like a promise. Oath.
Oath. Yep.
Oath. And then the next one is passing. So it's going by.
Yeah.
Passing.
The passing or passing in the British, I think the British say passing, and we in America, Americans tend to say passing. Okay.
Right. Devoid. So that's like empty. And to lack. So the next one, work, and man. So I think these words might have just got gobbled up.
Yeah, jumbled.
Got jumbled. And then the last one is benefiting. So it's helping. It's to be of benefit is to be a good thing. It's to something that's advantageous.
You know, earlier we said the word waste. The benefit would be at the other end of that. You're benefiting yourself with the resources. Okay.
Mm,
So
yeah. And I think benefiting, the root word in that is bene, which comes from Latin. There's a Latin word that is like that. That means good.
yeah. So if like people who are Spanish speaking, if you ask them how are you, they will say bene.
Right. Bien.
Or yeah, bien actually. Bien. Yeah.
Right. And it comes from I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact Latin word, but it comes from a Latin word to mean good.
Yeah, as you can tell, my Spanish also needs as much work as.
It's all good.
Yeah, so it's
Third,
15,
fourth
20 years
language.
of speaking English. Now I gotta learn Spanish. So bien,
Yeah.
bien is the word for good. Okay, so let's reread the passage.
Okay. So Imam Razi has cited a scholar as saying, I understood the meaning of Surah Al-Asr from an ice seller who was calling aloud for the attention of the people repeatedly in the bazaar. Have mercy on the one whose wealth is melting away. Hearing what he was crying, I said to myself, this then is the meaning of Wal-Asr innal insana lafi husrin. The age limit that man has been allotted is passing quickly like the melting away of ice. If it is wasted or spent in wrong pursuits, it will be sheer loss to man. Thus swearing an oath by the time which has been said in this surah means that the fast passing time is witness that devoid of these four qualities in whatever occupation and work man is spending his limited span of time, he is engaged in bad bargains. Only such people are engaged in good bargains, who work in the world characterized by the four qualities. It would be just like calling attention of the candidate who was spending the time allotted for solving the question paper in some other pursuit to the wall clock in the examination hall to tell him that the passing time bore witness that he was causing loss to himself. The candidate benefiting by the time was he who was using every moment of the allotted time in solving the paper.
Perfect. It kind of melts my heart to see this example that how the Imam Razi is learning from an ice seller.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we can learn a lot of things by just opening ourselves to the world around us. He's talking about a very philosophical concept. This guy's an imam.
Right.
And he says, I learned something from an ice seller. Somebody might just say, might just disregard an ice seller saying that, oh, this is just nothing. This is a menial job or this and that. But here's an imam learning from opening himself to learn from anybody and everybody. I don't know, Jessica, have you ever? I don't know if there are ice sellers in America. I have never.
We don't really see people selling ice just because we have ice machines.
Yeah.
You can just go to the machine and get the ice, or the fridge can make the ice, or you can buy like a bag of ice at the store. So I guess there's not really people anymore who sell ice.
But in Pakistan, there still are during summertime.
Oh.
So there are ice factories who will bring, and then the shopkeepers will have blocks of ice selling them.
Oh, okay.
So and you know, I've seen that still in various areas. You will have ice factories during summertime because it's very hot and people don't have convenient access to refrigeration.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's on an other side note. I think in one of Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel, I think
A
it's
Hundred Years of Solitude.
yeah. I think the opening lines of that novel I talk about a child learning from something from while observing a ice cellar.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a good novel.
Yeah, difficult to read, but anyways,
Yeah,
moving on
difficult to
to.
read. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Let's do Shahzeb. No, sorry, Shahzeb, you already went. We'll go with Muzammil.
Okay, sir.
The, the word man has been used in the singular in the following sentences. Those people have been made an exception from it, who are characterized by the four qualities. Therefore, one will have to admit that here the word man has been used as a collective noun, denoting a class, and it applies equally to individuals, groups, nations, and entire mankind. Thus, the general statement that whoever is devoid of the above four qualities is in loose.
The only one that he did a pretty good job. The only word that I would correct is the word loss again. Loss. But
And
all the other
that was
words,
actually yeah, that was the last word I heard.
yeah.
So
But everything else, he did a pretty good job. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start.
yeah,
Okay. So though the word man has been used in the singular in the following sentences, those people have been made an exception from it, who are characterized by the four qualities. Therefore, one will have to admit that here the word man has been used as a collective noun denoting a class, and it applies equally to individuals, groups, nations, and entire mankind. Thus, the general statement that whoever is devoid of the above four qualities is in loss would be proved in any case, whether it is a person who is devoid of these, a nation, or all men of the world. So I wanted to stop and point out, I don't know if you guys know what a noun is, but it refers to a person or a place or a thing. It's a thing, it's an object.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the distinction we have made mostly between a verb and a noun. We haven't spent a
Yeah.
lot of time on. I think we've talked about adverbs or adjectives, but we have kind of left that on the side for.
Oh yeah, maybe more
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah. I think we're gonna do that probably in another week or so. So okay, so next after Muzammil, let's go with Rabia.
It will be just like giving the verdict that person is fatal for man. It will mean that person is fatal in any case, whether it is taken by an individual or a nation or all the people of the world. Poison's being fatal is an unchangeable truth. It does not make any difference whether one man has taken it or a nation has decided to take it or all the people of the world collectively have agreed to take poison. Precisely in the same way, this truth by itself is unchangeable that man's being devoid of the above four qualities brings him loss. The general rule is not at all affected even if one man is devoid of these, or a nation, or all the people of the world agree
that they would exhort one another to disbelief, immorality, falsehood, and servitude to the self.
Okay. So let's stop here. So only two words at the end. Rabia, you did very good job. So let's do these two words and we'll move on to the next person. Jessica.
Okay. Immorality. So that's sinfulness. And servitude. So that's like service, being of help to others. A servant is like the word Abdul.
Yeah. So servitude similar to when you are a servant to something. The servants server, servant, servitude, similar words. It means same root word. The second thing I wanted to point out was immorality. So that it's there's morality and then there's added to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like saying impossible. Okay. So whenever you have well, I shouldn't say that. Usually when you have in front of a word, it means it's a negation.
Mm-hmm.
Impossible is not possible.
Right.
Immorality is not morality.
Right.
So, I think she did a good job. So I'll give
I
them
think
a
so
person
too.
to read. Wakas. Wakas, you there?
Yes, yes,
Go
sir, I
ahead.
am here.
So go ahead.
Now let us see in what sense has the Quran used the word kosher, loss. Lexically, kosher is an antonym of nafa, profit. In trade, this word is used in the case when loss results from one bargain, as well as in the case when the whole business is running in loss, and also in the case when man loses all his capital and becomes bankrupt. The Quran has made this word a special term of its own, uses it as an antonym of falah, and just as its concept of falah is not merely synonymous with worldly prosperity but comprehends man's true success from the world till the hereafter. So its concept of kosher loss is also not merely synonymous with worldly failure or distress, but comprehends man's real failure and disappointment from the world till the hereafter. We have explained the Quranic concept of both falah and husran at several places before, which used not be repeated here.
Okay. So a few words here. Jessica.
Sure. So the first one is lexically. So that is to be the meaning of the word, the definition of the word.
So like dictionary meaning.
Yeah. And I believe I'll look it up just to make sure, but the word lexicon is a dictionary, a lexicon.
Yeah. So
Okay.
word lexicon is used sometime as a and there's lexicon meaning, and then dictionary, and then there's word thesaurus, which is usually contains similar or synonyms.
Mm.
So okay, so what's the next word here?
Okay, and then loses.
Loses. So we have the words here, so let's just write these words here. It's lose, loses, loss, You know, you lose a match, you lose a game. Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
to be the opposite of win.
Yeah. So
Um,
loss, and then there's lose, like, you know, for example, a shirt that's too big can be loose. So these words are pretty much similar meaning, but then the word lose is something totally different. It means how would you describe the word lose?
loose is just it's like you said, I guess a shirt that's too big. It's something that's kind of like baggy, and it's the opposite of tight.
Yeah, opposite of tight.
Opposite of tight, yeah.
Okay, so Jessica, you want to read this?
And then there's synonymous.
Okay, yep, synonymous.
Synonymous, and that was a difficult one, but it means to have a similar meaning. Synonymous. And the word antonym was read earlier, antonym of nafa, and an antonym, as we mentioned before, is the opposite meaning. So synonymous is same meaning, antonym is opposite meaning.
So antonym versus synonym. Synonym. Yeah. And the example here they give is nafa, which is profit, and falah, which is success.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's do the.
Right. So now, sorry, I'm starting over. Now let us see in what sense has the Quran used the word khusr, loss. So khusr, that's an Arabic word. Lexically, khusr is an antonym of nafa, profit. In trade, this word is used in the case when loss results from one bargain, as well as in the case when the whole business is running in loss, and also in the case when man loses all his capital and becomes bankrupt. The Quran has made this word a special term of its own and uses it as an antonym of falah, true success. And just as the concept of falah is not merely synonymous with worldly prosperity, but comprehends man's true success from the world till the hereafter. So its concept of khusr, loss, is also not merely synonymous with worldly failure or distress, but comprehends man's real failure and disappointment from the world till the hereafter. We have explained the Quranic concept of both falah and khusran at several places before, which need not be repeated here.
Okay, so we will skip then few things here and go straight to besides. Sania, you there?
So Umair is taking class with me.
Okay, so 1 minute. Let's go to Sania first, and then we'll go back to Umair. Sania, you there? So let's go to Umair.
Besides, one should also understand that although according to the Quran true success in is man's success in the hereafter and loss real loss is failure there, yet in this world to what the people describe as success is not in fact real success, but its end in the world itself is failure, and what they regard as loss is not, in fact, loss but a means of true success even in the world. This truth has been stated by the Quran at several places, and we have explained.
So there were two. I think there was the word this that you read as da twice. Did you hear the same, Jessica? No?
Yeah, I heard the same. So I think those words got kind of gobbled up along with so it's this, this. So and then I think the word stated stated got a little gobbled up.
Yeah,
So that's
and I think he said stated.
stated.
So I wanted to actually, there was another word I wanted to write down here, statistics.
Right.
There we say statistics. We don't say
Right.
statistics.
Yeah, the A is short in statistics, but in state, it's long. And once again, you can see that pattern where you have the A, you have the consonant T, and then you have an E afterwards. So usually in that kind of pattern, the vowels become long, stated. But I did want to give him a compliment when he saw the word loss. He made sure to read it as loss. So he remembered what we were saying earlier. So that was good.
Yeah. So good job here on reading the loss correctly. Okay. Yeah. So a quick question for you, Jessica. State, there's AE. Statistics, we have AI.
Yeah.
Same pattern. So
It doesn't work though because it's just with E that pattern works.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask. That hey, AI. Can we say the same thing? But so you're saying that with A and E, it always works. So
well, not with A and E. It's just I know it's very complicated, but it's something they explained to us when I was in school and in elementary school. They explained it. They said that when you have a vowel, a consonant, and then an E, specifically an E, the vowel before the E will usually be long. Like a good example is cube versus cub.
Okay. Yeah, cube versus cup. But how about have versus hate?
Have versus hate. Yeah, usually sometimes the rule doesn't always come into play. That's the confusing part. That's why English is confusing.
It's very good, right? Because for example, when Umar just said his state, have hate, so it takes some time to kind of realize that there are rules and there are exceptions to the rules.
Right.
So, if we start writing rule exceptions, and this becomes very long, over time, you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is good. This is very good. Okay, so let's, Sania, are you there? Okay, I don't hear her. That was the only person that was missed. So I think we can actually, this is a good stopping point for us. Was there anybody that was missed or skipped?
Yes, sir. Arslan.
Oh, Arslan, you want to finish the last one and then we're done?
Thus, when he Quran states consensually and absolutely that man is certainly in loss, it implies loss both in this world and in the hereafter. And when it says only such people are secure from this loss, who characterized by for the qualities, it implies their being secure from loss and attaining true success both here and in the hereafter.
Okay, in the hereafter. Okay. All right. Okay. So Jessica, you want to just read it, or you want to read the words and then read the whole thing? We've got 2 minutes.
I'll just do the words and then the whole thing. So the first one was conclusively. So that's like definitively, conclusively. And then the next one is certainly, right? So to be certain, to know for sure. And then he pronounced loss correctly, so that's good. And then there was qualities. So these are like traits, good traits. Well, I guess quality isn't necessarily good or bad. It's just neutral, but it's just like a trait. And then the last word was hereafter. Okay, so I'll go ahead. So thus, when the Quran states conclusively and absolutely that man is certainly in loss, it implies loss both in this world and in the hereafter. And when it says that only such people are secure from this loss, who are characterized by the 4 qualities, it implies their being secure from loss and attaining true success both here and in the hereafter. And with that, I must go. But it was really good seeing you all.
Thank you, Jessica.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Allah
Good
Hafiz.
barak, everyone. Salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, ma'am.